Hello, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me for this nature walk. These are pictures I've taken while I've traveled of different things that I've seen and come across more nature-wise. Deer seem to be in a lot of the places that I travel, as well as wildflowers and cactus. I love all of the wild things that you can see and how different they are in different areas. So I will be sharing this with you today on this video. Here's another deer. This one is outside of Waco, Texas. Everywhere I go, I see deer, but they're always a little different in their coloring as well as their size. So you never know from place to place what you're going to see. Here we are on a ferry outside of Galveston going across to the beach. We had a family that we met there, and as you can see, once we got to the beach, the wind was blowing, so the water was a little rough, but we enjoyed it anyway. Here's a sunset. I enjoy sunsets, and I think they all are different, and I love to see them and record them. Here's one that I have, and I will be showing you another one and a little bit later in the video. Here's a little water that I like to walk by. This is at Tres Rios RV Resort in Glen Rose, Texas. The little creek and the ripples are so relaxing. I could just take a nap if I had something to lay on out here. As promised, another sunset. This one was actually taken when we took a sunset cruise out at South Padre. It was a beautiful day, a beautiful evening, and we had so much fun on this little cruise. Terlingua, Texas. That's where you'll find this old truck. It's by the Starlight Theater, and once you go to Terlingua, you'll have to check that out. There'll be signs to tell you where everything is. This is in Lajitas. That is between Presidio and Big Bend on the River Road. You never know what you're going to see when you're out looking around in the West Texas. I grew up in the Big Bend area, and every time we had family and friends come and visit, we would always go to Big Bend. They always wanted to see the national park. This TP rest stop is actually on the highway, the River Road, between Presidio and Terlingua, but it was always our go-to place for lunch. We carried our ice chest and our picnic lunch, and we would sit there and have a lunch, and then we would cross the road and climb this little mountain. We didn't climb to the top, but we would climb on it and look at it, and it's just amazing at the views that you can see when you're out in West Texas like that. And when I talk about wildlife, I don't mean just the deer. This is up close to where the motel is at the Big Bend National Park at the basin. And the bears are used to people being there. They're not going to harm you as long as you give them their space and don't crowd them. That is a warning that the rangers will give you every time. Now, that is not to say that they cannot attack, because we know that in past there have been attacks. But for the most part, as long as you give them their space and don't crowd them, they're not going to bother you. I love old things like this. This old tractor just sitting out in a field in the snow. I just like to see pictures like this and take pictures like this, so I do. This is at Fredericksburg. It is at the Enchanted Rock State Park in Fredericksburg. This is the summit, and I did climb to the top. Climbing the summit is kind of like just climbing stairs for a long time. It is very tiring. Be sure you take plenty to drink, and I take trekking poles to help me stabilize myself when I get on uneven ground. Another one of my favorites in the spring in Central Texas is the bluebonnets. I love bluebonnets. I love the wildflowers, and I take advantage of it when I can see them to always stop and take a picture. The bluebonnets have a very short lifespan of only about 6 weeks. This lake was in Arkansas. We were on a trail, a hiking trail, and came across this lake and thought it was so beautiful. You can see the clouds reflecting in the water. It was so pretty. And we came across this creature while we were on our walk. Like the bear, we kept our distance. We're not going to get close to a bear. We're not going to get close to a snake. We gave him his space, and we went around and left him alone. Everything worked out well because of that. How about a deer in action? I love to watch them glide over the fence. And this was a century plant that was taken near the Pecos River, south of Ozona off of Pandale Road. Look how blue the sky is. To me, when you're out in West Texas, the sky is so much bluer than it is anywhere else. And here we are with more deer. This was in Wolf Park at Navarro Mills Lake near Corsicana. You never know what you're going to see in the country. This little guy didn't want me passing, and when I tried to get closer to him, he acted like he was going to butt my car, so I just sat and gave him his space until he decided to walk off on his own. This old dance hall is in London, Texas. I don't think it's even used anymore, but it used to be a big hot spot on Saturday nights. This is outside of Del Rio, Texas, after a night of hard rains. It's dry there, it's rocky, so when it rains, the water has to go somewhere, and as you can see on the fence, it was higher than it is currently when I took the picture. You always want to be sure and check the road conditions and watch for high water, because the water will get over the roads, and that can be very dangerous if you're traveling in these areas. What? I didn't even know there were payphones anymore. I believe this was in Delaware when I took my trip to Maine. There was a rest stop with the payphones. I don't even know if they worked because I didn't try them. I just thought it was interesting to see them there since I don't ever see them anywhere anymore. This picture was taken from Cadillac Mountain in Acadia National Park. You can see for so many miles. They say that those in the distance is actually Canada, and you can see all of the surrounding islands. I stopped at a welcome center as I entered the state of Maine, and I saw this. I had to take a picture of it because I thought it was funny. I carry a lot of things in my minivan when I travel, and I camp in my van, but I haven't gone this far yet. Of all the pictures I took in Maine, I think this will be my favorite forever. This was taken between Bar Harbor and Acadia National Park. There are places you can pull over and park so you can take pictures, or there are different trails that you can hike. So I had to stop and see what everybody was looking at, and I was in awe when I saw this. I had to share it with you because it's such a beautiful spot. Here we are back in Texas. This is at Abilene State Park. I went for a meetup of other van people, and the deer were everywhere. One morning I even opened my door, and there were deer walking past the door, and they weren't even startled when I opened the door. They just slowly walked on past. These kind of things get my attention. A partial old wagon just sitting out in a field. I always think they look so neat and so cool, so I had to stop and take a picture. What better way to end this video of my memories of travel than with this horse thoroughly enjoying having his head out as he travels.